If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't believe that's my first choice of words when it comes to starting this podcast is buh. That's how you can tell I'm not too serious. I tell you, I was practicing how to start off this podcast. I had it all right. And then all of a sudden, I hit record, and I'm like, buh. Because I didn't know what to say. This is going to be quite the enjoyable time. I really hope, really hope that the Google thing doesn't make any weird noises. And that's the one thing that I really can't stand about having a Google Home Mini is the fact that whenever I'm in the middle of a podcast, there's that 50-50 chance it may go off and someone's like, hey, I need something, or it's like, I don't need something. So I fear it. Like the moment the lights come on, that's when it makes a noise. And I'm like, I'm right in the middle of podcast. So this time, if there is interruption, I am not restarting. I will pause it if I have to, or stop it. And I don't mind going through edits. That's what I'm thinking of anyway. I have some stuff that I like to go ahead and talk about here. Just note that this episode will be airing today. I've been really lacking on uploading the podcast off of YouTube and Facebook. I've been meaning to delete a lot of old content, or just, unlisted, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. My name is Jon, and if you are not familiar with this podcast, don't worry. I am not familiar with this podcast either. I just, okay, let me be honest here. Yeah, so podcast restarted, and now we're here. The podcast is not available on Apple yet, and I have been checking. Constantly, and yeah. So, oh wait, something just popped up, and I've been meaning to talk about this thing here as well. However, I won't get into it just yet. It was a little notification off my iPhone 6. Yeah, I'm still behind, but you know what? I don't care. The moment that I make money, like at least once a month, really good money, I will buy an iPhone, a new iPhone, and do all that kind of good stuff. But until then, iPhone 6 still good. I still get service. It's all good. Anyway, so I want to go ahead and talk about quite a few things here. So first off is, have I seen the movie Joker? No, I have not. I've seen like maybe little previews here and there. Little previews. I didn't even see the full trailer. Just little previews. Maybe 5, 10 second, 15 second previews. That's it. And I'm like, well, we'll see how it goes. And then come find out people are like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And other people are like, it advertises school shootings. And I'm like, does it really? I wouldn't know. I've heard about it, but I don't know what it advertises. I have no idea. Some people say that it's like that the movie goes like really well in depth as I fart into the movie. Actually, that fused really well together, but that's not what I meant. But yeah. Anyway, do I plan on seeing the Joker? Probably. I don't know. I do know Toy Story 4 came out on Blu-ray and Ultra HD or 4K, whatever you want to call it. I am really ecstatic knowing the fact. Did I say ecstatic? Ecstatic. Knowing the fact that it is out. I'm just waiting for it to be on Xfinity. I mean, buying movies nowadays is like really expensive. Like the super popular ones are almost $30. Almost $30. I used to remember back when I was a kid buying movies VHS style, and they were what, $9-10 to buy, and this is like including really good popular movies, and other movies were like $5-6, and then that's when they evolved into DVDs. And back then it was really hard to come by with a really good DVD movie because DVDs back then were expensive. And I recalled at the time when we would buy a DVD, it would cost maybe about $14-15 for a really popular one. And back then we thought that was really expensive. And nowadays you have Blu-rays and Ultra HD whatchamajiggers, and now they cost like $24-30. If they're not all that popular, maybe about $14-15. I kind of worry about how far we'll get into technology when it comes to movies increasing. They'll get more popular and more popular as they go along, and then next thing you know, you're paying like $120 for the next blockbuster movie, and some low score film you pay like $60. You're like, why do I pay $60 for this? I wouldn't. I highly wouldn't advise to bootleg it, but as a joke, bootleg it. I'm kidding. I don't want to get sued. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about a really good topic here. Something juicy, something spicy. And then I'll get into something else that I don't think anyone really wants to hear. But it's okay. It's part of the program. So anyway, something really juicy. Fortnite went into a black hole. Yeah. It did. Okay, interesting story about this too. I was playing Fortnite with a pal of mine, and actually, no, we weren't playing. We were getting ready to play, and he and I jumped into the server, and we were going to wait for the event to happen, which of course people would think, oh, okay, we're going to jump into season 11, chapter 2. However, that wasn't the case. I get in, and next thing you know, I get kicked out of the server. I'm like, wait, this isn't right. So I try to sign back in, try to go back in, and it says, nope, sorry, you can't get back in. I'm like, what is this? Why can I not get back in? I'm trying, and then my friend David is sitting there going, oh, this is so cool. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm missing it. So I had to go onto YouTube just to watch a live stream. And yeah, it was really cool to see it. Rocket just bursts out and goes into whatever time warp ripple it is that he goes through. And this thing plays out for, I think, maybe 5-10 minutes. And then I think something hits the meteor. The meteor goes through this time warp thing, just goes through like a little bubble layer, and then something explodes, and then everything gets sucked into a black hole. And now it's still continuing on an ongoing loop of a black hole. And now there's a code that people can decipher and see what lies within this code, which is what I think I read about is a like a mini game. I don't know. I haven't deciphered the whole thing yet. Someone laid out a code or a little thing to like what you can click on and whatnot to enter into this game. And I want to try it out. Probably today. I don't know. I do want to try it out sometime. But do I think this is the end of Fortnite? I did yesterday. Now I'm starting to think, okay, they're really hyping something up. But if this is the end of Fortnite, it was a really well dessert play of Fortnite. I don't know. I mean, it's 10 seasons. They can still go on if they want to. I don't see why you would stop. You're still making money off of battle passes. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that's the thing. And I've seen some people's reactions when it came to it. Some reactions were really good, and others were like, "Why did you even try? Why? Oh, did I get? Oh, I thought I was just looking through my phone to see if I had like anything interesting coming out of emails, and nothing. Here's an interesting thing too. Skipping ahead of Fortnite because I don't want to talk about Fortnite anymore. Scratching my beard. I am still waiting for Apple to accept my podcast. A friend of mine who deep down I love very much, and he means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me knowing that he is happy listening to the Uncle Jon podcast, but he can't listen to the Uncle Jon podcast because the Uncle Jon podcast is not available on iTunes, like Apple Podcast. I meant, come on, Apple. I submitted this thing I don't know how long ago, and like it's still under review. I actually know. I think this is like the same amount of time too, because like I had okay views. They weren't like the highest at the time, and then stuff happened. So yeah, this is like my third episode. Third maybe? Yeah, third episode in, and I've always said beforehand, when it comes to doing podcasts, it's like if there's like something I really want to go ahead and talk about, I'm going to record it on that day. I'm going to release it on that day. If if I can hold it out until Friday, I will. I was actually meaning to record something last Friday, but then the guest I was supposed to have, which was Brian, by the way, had other plans, and I waited out until Saturday, and then Sunday. So that's the thing about having a podcast, is that you wait to have guests. Sometimes they can do it, sometimes they can't. It's all part of the gig. But I love doing podcasts. I do. I think I've mentioned that before too. It's one thing to where I sit there, I talk about whatever I want to talk about, and at the end of the day, there are people that are, willing to listen to the podcast. I will say though that I really do hope that Apple picks up on this podcast. Like, please, Apple, like, let me in. Yes, I'm using a WWE Bray Wyatt quote as I continuously get notifications from Discord. Let me in. Seriously, let me in. But yeah, just really, really hoping for like, an entry to the Apple Podcasts. And yes, I have been in Apple Podcasts before. And is it very tedious going into it? Yup. It is super tedious. The weird thing too was that I always wondered why the very first platform I got into was Spotify through Anchor. And truthfully, I had no idea until I looked it up, and apparently Anchor is like a part of Spotify in a way. It's hard to explain. I seen it and I'm like, oh, you're tricky. Like, I thought they were their own entity, but apparently they were created, I think, by Spotify. I don't know. There's some link that connects Anchor to Spotify and everywhere else. But for some reason, I never once got like an invite to Apple. I said Apple like that. But yeah, never once got an invite to Apple. It's sad. It's sad for the fact that I have to submit my podcasts like that. I had waited 1.5 years. Just actually not even a year. No. Yeah, it was 1.5 years to get my podcast onto Apple, and they never did it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it, because it said that it could get onto Apple. Never once got onto Apple, so I had to submit it myself. I know, poor baby. I like making fun of myself sometimes. It really brightens up my day. Actually, there's something else I wanted to talk about too. Happened during the nighttime, and I think some of you might think to yourself, that's sad and a little pathetic. I had a dream that I was... And before I go any further, this is a reoccurring dream. It happens in a different way every time. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, to continue on, I had a dream that I was in somebody's arms. And I don't mean in a very violent way. I mean like in a loving relationship, kind of like boyfriend girlfriend type dream. What happened was that I just visioned that I was in an interesting relationship. It's not something I would highly ever suggest ever, but it was in a relationship. I think I saw the person's face, but I won't reveal who they were. And I don't think I ever met them. Ever. It just happened. And that's the weird thing too. I have dreams of people I've never met. Seen them, never met. I don't know if anyone's ever been through that kind of stuff before. But anyway, I was in their arms, and my line was, I don't know why I said it either. But again, just a dream, not saying this would ever happen. I had said, I would date you if you weren't married. I'm thinking to myself, first, why did this happen? And second, what's going on? I had no control over this dream. It just happened. And I've actually talked to them before, not like communication voice wise, but through texts on Instagram, and very short conversation too. And yeah, it happened, and I'm like, why am I having this dream? There was actually other dreams I had too. I had a dream that I was dating Ronda Rousey. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no chance in hell. Yeah, you could hear the confidence I have. No chance in hell. I'm honestly, deep down, I'm pretty pathetic when it comes to having these kind of dreams. And some of them are like really corny, and others are really awesome. And I've also had a dream that I was in the arms of an old, I can't say if this would be the right term or not, like high school sweetheart. I mean, we never dated, but we wanted to date. However, if she does listen to this podcast, you should know who you are by this story I'm about to tell. And I'm not going to say who it is, but again, if you hear it and you realize and recognize the story, again, you know who you are. Anyway, she had asked me to date her back in 11th grade, I think, before we became seniors, because like seniors don't have that long of a year to go in high school. Anyway, she asked me to date her, and I said no, and she was a little flabbergasted that I said no. And at first I thought she was joking, and then I thought to myself, okay, maybe there's a reason why I did say no without the joking part. And then I told her that the reason why I didn't want to date her was because, well, I didn't not want to date her. I wanted to date her, but I didn't want to go through it because I was afraid that if, like, down the line we, cross paths into one another or whatnot, that it would be extremely awkward to see her, and we would just, bypass one another without, really acknowledging each other's existence. And I said, and for that, I honestly regret it. And I told her that in high school, and I told her 10 years later, which was interesting too. Yeah, 10 years later, I told her about that all over again. So yeah, basically, I was an idiot for not dating to whom I thought was like the hottest girl in school at that time. And when I do say that time, I mean in my generation, the hottest. Is she still that way? In an adult manner, very attractive, very attractive. Would I consider her in that terminology of, high school? Oh my God, she's like so hot. If I was a child, I probably would. But as a grown adult, I would say she is like just super attractive. That's what I would say. Keep it mature. But yeah, I do regret it. I do regret not dating her. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the dream. But yeah, I did have a dream about her quite a few times actually. Really good dreams. And no, they weren't anything obscure or anything. If you guys are thinking about that, and if you are thinking about that, shame on you. Sort of. But yeah, I didn't have any of those kind of obscure dreams. But yeah, I've also had dreams of other people I never seen, never knew. Don't know why I have them, but it happens. But yeah, that's my sad life. Still single, by the way. Still single. And I emphasize single because one day someone will love me. Love me for who I am. I am what you would call a hopeless romantic. I want to have the dream of, or not dream, I want to have the reality of being someone. Did I say being someone? Being with someone. Being with someone who loves me as much as I would love them. And some people would say, I heard something really loud. Oh yeah, there's walking going up the stairs. So anyway, as I was saying, like, yeah, give me one moment here. Okay, had to close the door. But anyway, yeah, hopeless romantic. Pass it on. Like, seriously, I am a deep down hopeless romantic that at times I wish I could find love. At times. And some people would say, well, would you date just about anybody? I would say no. I wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't want to date just about anybody, and then you wouldn't be happy on your end. Someone else would be happy on their end. You wouldn't want that. You would want to date them for multiple reasons. Number one is psychology. You want to make sure that who you're dating is compatible with yourself. That's what I want. Number two, interests not too similar, but close to it. That's what I want. I want similar interests into a relationship. I don't care if they're into K-pop. I really don't. But, be into music. That's what I'm looking for. Be into music. Number three, I really don't care about height. As long as they're not freakishly tall or taller than me at some point. I guess in a sense that would be kind of hypocritical of me to say I don't care about the height, but just don't be freakishly tall. I don't know what I want. But yeah, I would love to have that. And sometimes it's not wrong to have a lusting idea of who you would love to have in a relationship. Kind of like, for instance, someone who, for instance, has a nice butt, like a really cute butt, like, little thick thighs, thick butt. That's what you want. Well, that's what I want. Have I ever dated anyone that was like that? Like a really nice, like thick thighs and thick, or not, is it thick? No, big butt or bubble butt or round butt or something like that kind of butt. No, I haven't. I've wanted to, but I haven't. But yeah, I have my own things of interest. I would like to date someone like that, nice thick thighs, nice, butt. Yeah. I mean, most guys would probably think to themselves, "Oh, you want big butt to squeeze, to grab onto," and I would say, "Yeah." I'm pathetic. I really am. But yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want that? Like, if they're really if a guy is like me in a way and would want to date someone that actually has that kind of feature, that would be really nice. However, there's always a disadvantage. You never know about their personality, and personality is always key when it comes to a relationship. I would want someone to be bubbly and funny. I've always hated it when I was younger that girls were so bubbly with their personality, and nowadays I don't care. I want bubbly, not too bubbly, but I want bubbly, like someone who's really fun, someone who's like, yeah, let's go and do, like what's that one voice? I call this the Jessica voice. Like, oh my god, yeah, like let's go do this. Woo! I'm pathetic. Leave me alone. But yeah, that's like I really hope I didn't peak on that one as well. When I was looking down at it, I thought I was peaking, but apparently I wasn't. But anyway, that's the kind of lady I like to date. You know, someone who has an interesting personality, someone who's a little bubbly, a little fun. And yeah, I do like my shape sometimes. I mean, I like, you know, nice thighs, nice butt. I don't know. It's just legs really get me on for some reason. Did I say get me on? Well, we'll pass on that. Anyway, yeah, a little too much information, but yeah, I'm more of a guy who likes to look at a woman for her personality, for her looks as well. I like that. Do I have looks? No, I don't. Maybe I do. I don't know. Someone told me I did. Someone said, you know, Jon, you got a butt. I mean, you got a butt. Back then, no joke, I had some female ladies that I was friends with who, by the way, I was like attracted to at that time, and one of them, still am to this very day, would come up and just grab me right by the butt, right from behind, and I'm like, ooh, and I would turn around and they're like, how come you're the one guy that doesn't go hands off? I'm like, because I don't get touched. I don't get touched. So like the least I have had by getting touched was being grabbed on the butt. Yeah. So man, this is really like coming out to be in a really depressing episode. But yeah, I would love to have a relationship with someone with all sorts of you know, quirks and qualities and whatnot. And some people find it a little disgusting when a girl has a little, not like overlaps, but you know, a little bit of a bumpy stomach kind of way, like it kind of peeks out a little bit. Some people find that disgusting. I find that super attractive for some reason. Like I'm like, ooh, she looks cute, and they're like, really? Yeah, like I'm hopeless. I am a hopeless romantic. Anyway, I checked out my my Amazon thingy, Mickle Doodle Bobber Hoodle Hoo, and as I go into my orders, I have my book, which is Dreamland by Bob Lazar, coming to me on this Thursday. Actually, I bought it on sale for what, $16.70 something, and it's $16.79, and the what was it? Shipping, handling is free. Tax was $1.01, so collectively $17.80. Not that bad at all for like Amazon Prime 2-day shipping, which I really need to watch some stuff now. Not saying that I can't watch things later on, but however, my folks have Amazon Prime. I just watch whatever I want on there. But since I have it for free right now, I'll just check out some stuff later. But yeah, that book's coming out. I am looking forward into reading that book. When I first saw it on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I really need to have that book. I really do. Like, I love Bob Lazar, really do. But yeah, back to what I was talking about. Would love to just date a girl, little shapy. I mean, I'm all kinds of shape, but yeah. I mean, I have a very fun personality with a question mark. I'm very goofy. My personality is very goofy. I think the one thing that's really hard to come by, which, by the way, should be talked about in another episode too, is the fact of how hard it is to get into a relationship with a disability. I find it hard. Some people may not, but I do. But yeah, that's the one thing I really do need to talk about into another episode. But anyway, there was something else I was wanting to talk about. Ooh, yeah, and I'm just now looking at the time. I really need to talk about this. Anyway, this episode was actually supposed to be around this one topic here, which, by the way, I'm super glad that I just now thought of it. For those of you that don't know, and if you just don't want to hear about this part of the episode, that's completely understandable. But for those of you that have been wondering about this, about a while back, there was a brand new installment for all iPhones that had like 11 or higher for the software updating thingy. No, actually it was 12 or higher. I'm sorry, not 11, but 12 or higher. And it was what was it? The AltServer or AltStore. Now, for those of you who have been trying so hard to do this, believe me, I have had the hardest time trying to install this server myself. However, I will say that installing it took me about a week or two, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I had went through every single little process there was. First, I downloaded the server installation, then I installed it, then I put it onto my phone. For some reason, every time I would try to download Delta, it would say could not find AltServer, and I'm like, that's really aggravating. So I messaged. I actually didn't even message. I added Riley to the developer that's listening to this. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, and I'm sure there are some people that don't. But if they do, they're really, really, probably really lucky to know your last name. But anyway, I tweeted at him saying like I had done every little thing possible, downloaded it, did the firewall thing, did all this and that and this and that and this and that, and nothing. And then he's like, did you sync your iPhone to the iTunes Wi-Fi? And I went, no. So I went to go do that. And turns out my computer wouldn't let me. Like, it would sync to it, but it wouldn't do anything else. And I'm like, this is so frustrating. So I had like 2 back up updates. I couldn't find out how to say that the right way. So I had like 2 backed up updates. I installed both of them, and then once Windows came up, I'm like, well, let's open up iTunes and like put some songs onto my phone. By the time I open it up, my phone is not even connected to iTunes. And then I looked at it, and boom, lo and behold, my phone icon is at the upper left-hand corner of iTunes. Never there before. So I thought, well, I'm going to plug it in, put the songs in, take it out, and I guarantee it's going to come off. I plug in my phone, put the songs on it, take it out, continuously look up. It is still there. I'm like, oh, sweet. That means that I can actually go and download Delta. So I go on to the AltServer. Actually, I had to I had to reinstall it. I had to reinstall AltServer, and then as soon as I did that, I went to go download it, and it finally worked. Now, here's the thing, though. Some people, if you have your phone synced up to your iTunes Wi-Fi, you're trying to refresh your apps, including the AltServer, and it says, couldn't I find AltServer? There is an actual reason behind that. For myself, it was because my computer was restarting again from another update, and it could not find it because the Wi-Fi to iTunes was closed off. However, if I have my iTunes closed off with the computer on, I think it still works. I don't know. I didn't try it. Actually, no, it did. It did work because I did have to open it this morning. This morning actually when I woke up. So yeah, I opened it up, and it worked last night like a charm. I think I closed out of it. I don't know, but I'm gonna try it tomorrow with the app closed and see if that works. And if it does, then great. If not, then I will say that you really don't need the Wi-Fi to play any of the games and save all your stuff. You really don't need that, but you do need it to update the app, every so often. But yeah, when I had installed it, I am currently playing Pokemon Blue. Yeah, so I have some other games I'd like to play as well. But yeah, all thanks to Riley, though. Riley, if you were listening to this podcast, I would love to have you on an episode to really talk about all this kind of stuff, what really got you into it and whatnot. Still haven't replied back. Really hoping you do. I sent him a tweet about probably during the weekend. Probably didn't get to it. I don't know. But yeah, really hoping that would happen. But anyway, I had a talk with my dad about the podcasts, and I said I have a plan on doing episodes 1 through 19 for season 1, and then 20 through 29 for season 2, so on and so forth. He thought that was a pretty good idea. He did say he told me something that I should do, and I told him that I'm already doing that, and he said, "Oh, okay," and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, I'm like really excited for this book coming in. I'm going to read what I can of it, and then just really go through the synopsis of what the book's about without really spoiling or giving any good details, because you want to, as a podcaster, you kind of want to avoid saying anything to where it's like, oh no, that was a huge keyword thing, and that was like the whole plot point of buying the book. I want to avoid that at all costs. But yeah, things are looking great. Things are awesome. Still waiting for Apple to say, hey, like, you are now on Apple Podcasts. Actually, I want to go ahead and check that out right now. I would have checked this on my phone, but I like hearing clicks when it comes to the podcast. So let me see. I just clicked in my name, and it should be at the very, very forefront whenever I type my name in. It is not. Probably a few more days, maybe, if that. Probably. I don't know. But the moment it happens, I mean, I check this more than a daily basis. And yes, I still see my icon. It's right near music. In between library and music, it's right there. Like, just all I got to do is click on it. And it shows me all my good stuff, whatnot. I'm so glad that this is synced. Really am. Oh, I still love it every time I look at that logo. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I really have to talk about, because I don't want to waste like more time onto this podcast than I have to. So anyway, thank you all so much for being a part of this podcast here. Until it goes on to Apple, I will just have to say subscribe to the podcast on Anchor. This podcast is powered by Anchor, by the way. Anchor.fm/Uncle Jon Podcast. Podcast is also available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of other platform places that I can never remember. But believe me, I will announce when the podcast is available on Apple, because like Apple is that one main place that apparently a lot of people are waiting to hear the podcast on. And I am kind of exaggerating when I say a lot. I do mean a friend of mine. However, he did say once it gets on to Apple, let him know. And I'm like, gotcha. So anyway, that is all the time that I have for you. I feel like this is like a really short episode and I'm kind of robbing you people from it. But that's what happens when you don't really have a lot to talk about. And it may come back up in my mind going, oh, I should have talked about that in the podcast. Oh, well, you'll do it some other time. But anyway, that is all for now. And until then, I will see you all next time. Love you all so much. Stay safe. Don't do things I wouldn't do. And I'll talk to you all soon. I'll see you. Blah, blah. Yeah. Tongue twisters and whatnot. Scripts always happen every episode, and I love it. Till then, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye. See you later. Love you. Bye.